hopefully everybody's had a chance to read the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve from last meeting?
I'll go ahead and move that we approve the minutes.
And do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Can we do roll
Aye.
call?
Aye.
Oh, we're going to do a roll call too.
Commissioner Blanco,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez, absent. Commissioner Dickerson,
Aye.
Commissioner Mulhajer,
Aye.
and Chair Seifert.
Aye. Perfect, thank you. At this time, we're going to have a public comment period, and each member of the audience may address the commission on any subject within the commission's business that is not on tonight's agenda. Each member of the audience and each subject is limited to the discussion of 3 minutes or as otherwise directed by chair. I don't have any slips. I don't see anyone that wants to speak. So we're going to keep moving on now to number 5, public hearings. And the first item tonight is the Gonzalez Auto Motrex number 2 conditional use permit at 1032 West Main Street. Staff, do we have a report?
Thank you, Chair Seifert, and good evening, Commissioners. I am Greg Vine, Associate Planner with the City. Today I'll be presenting a conditional use permit U 2025-005 to establish tire sales and service within an existing mechanic shop at 1032 West Main Street. The 0.2 acre project site is located at the western portion of the city, just east of the intersection of West Main Street and Russell Avenue, within the Entrada Specific Plan. The site is zoned PDC2, Plan Development General Commercial. To the north, east, and west of the site are also properties zoned PDC2 and include an auto body shop, insurance office, automotive smog shop, and medical and dental offices. To the south are properties zoned R1 or single-family residential. The applicant owns and operates a general mechanic business at the subject site and proposes to add tire sales and service to his scope of work. While general automotive repair is a permitted use within the C2 district, a conditional use permit is required for the proposed tire sales and service. Here we have the existing project site. Parking is located at the northern portion of the site. The existing mechanic shop is centrally located, and there are 2 covered canopy areas at the rear or south portion of the site. From the street on West Main Street, you can see the existing 3,000 square foot mechanic building. There are 3 bays out front, 2 hydraulic lifts on the inside, a front desk area, office, restroom, and storage areas. This is the view from the rear of the site at the alley. You can gain access from the alley into the rear of the site through a rolling screen gate that you can see on the right-hand portion of your screen there. And this area in the rear is additional parking for employees and storage areas and refuse areas. You can see the 2 covered canopies that I had mentioned on the last slide that extend off the rear of the existing building. To establish tire sales and service, minor alterations are needed for the site to comply. No modifications to the existing building are planned as part of this permit. However, legalization of storage racks, hydraulic lifts, and the canopy at the southwest corner of the existing building are required and noted as conditions of approval. Parking lot striping will be updated so as to conform with ADA requirements and municipal code parking minimums. 6 parking spaces are required for the property, 3 spaces each for each service lift. A second street tree well will be added adjacent to the driveway approach to enhance the street frontage. The project is also conditioned that all automotive work shall occur wholly within the building. No storage of vehicle parts, tools, equipments, or supplies should occur outside of the building or within the parking lot area. The municipal code does allow tire sales and service businesses to display one tire display rack, which may be placed within 10 feet of the building and shall not interfere with the parking or aisles and must be brought inside at the close of business. This project qualifies as a Class 1 categorical exemption under CEQA guidelines since the project includes only minor modifications to the interior and exterior of the site to meet current standards of public health and safety. The project is consistent with the general plan and the Entrada specific plan and will pose no significant effects on traffic, noise, air, and water quality. No further environmental review is required. This concludes staff's presentation. City staff recommends that the commission by motion approve conditional use permit U 2020-0005. Are there any questions for staff at this time? And I believe the applicant is also available. Should you have any questions for them?
Great, thank you. Do we have any ex parte on this particular item? Do we have any questions for staff? Commissioner Mohajer.
Thank you, Chair. Understanding that he's now kind of expanding into a sales component of the business, is he going to have to employ more people versus his current staff? What does that look like in terms of business operations? Because I'm trying to understand whether or not the parking is going to be sufficient.
Chair Seifert, Commissioner Mohajer, thank you. I'm not aware that additional employees would be needed. That would be something to clarify with the applicant. The business has been operating, doing tire sales and service, and this is just a legalization of that use. The parking requirements, they are meeting the parking requirements by having the 6 spaces, 3 each is needed for each hydraulic lift, and they only have the 2 hydraulic lifts. There at the business.
Okay. Oh, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioner. And as Greg indicated, they are meeting the minimum parking requirements per code, and the parking in the back is in addition to the parking that's more customer friendly in the front. So they're actually exceeding parking requirements when you consider what's in the back. The other aspect I'd like to bring up is that when the parking requirements are established in the code, they are assumed to look at the use in a holistic manner. So they would accommodate not only the customers, but also the estimate of an average number of employees. So that assumption that a space or 2 may be used by an employee is built into our parking ratios.
Okay, and to clarify, he's already operating a sales component.
Correct.
Okay, and I'm just curious, where does he receive the inventory in terms of deliveries? Is that through the rear?
That would also be something to clarify with the applicant.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any other questions? I have a few. So I kind of figured that he was selling tires already because there's pictures of tires in the photo. Yeah. So I kind of thought that's what was happening there. So is this like a zoning thing where the zoning enforcement came out?
Thank you, Chair Seifert. Yes, conditional use permit is required for tire sales and service within the C2 zone. Yeah.
Okay. So did he come to us or did someone find him out or how did that all work out? Do we know?
I believe it initially started as a code case, and then he came to legalize the use.
And tell me about this tree that we're putting in on the sidewalk. Is it to get the 15% landscaping, or what's the motivation on that one?
Chair, that was a requirement from Rec and Parks for the additional street tree. Existing, there is just one tree well at that location, and the requirement is for 2 street trees for that property.
So in the past, we've had trouble with enforcement on this on Blosser, one of your favorite businesses. They were supposed to do the same thing, and they couldn't run the water to the tree. So it's a lot harder to get the water to the tree than it is to just cut out the sidewalk and put a tree in. So what are we doing on that?
Chair, members of the commission, irrigation will also be required. It's assumed that at one point in time there was irrigation because there was a tree well at this location. Clearly, that will have to be repaired and replaced most likely, but irrigating those trees are part of the requirement. These trees would be considered street trees, so they would fall under Recreation and Parks Department's purview and maintenance.
Did they run the water to the tree, or does the applicant?
My understanding is that it would be the responsibility of the property owner applicant to provide the irrigation for that parkway. Rec and Parks may be able to make other arrangements, but we always ensure that if a tree is going to be planted, that provisions for its irrigation be included with that.
Because that could add a considerable amount of money to this operation right here, getting that tree in. If he's going to have to cut the asphalt and run a water line and cut the sidewalk, and we're talking about encroachment permits, is this all encompassing, or?
Correct. Everything necessary to get that tree into that location, properly irrigated, is going to be the responsibility of the applicant.
But you said that Rec and Parks might be able to work with him on that?
I am not certain of that, but I know in the past there have been other arrangements made, but I don't know the circumstances
Okay,
when those have happened.
yeah, I don't want to have him to tear up all of his front to get that darn tree in there. But Scott's going to work with him on that?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. So we're not just doing a tire store, we're doing a tire store and repair, auto repair, correct?
Chair Seifert, the auto repair is a permitted use, which has already been occurring at that location for 50 or 60 years. And it was just adding the tire sales and service to his purview.
So he's going to be doing both?
Correct.
That's kind of my question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. No other questions? Okay. Would the applicant, would you like to speak?
No, I'm okay right now.
Okay, thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. We don't have any more questions. I'm going to open this meeting up to the public. At this time, I don't see any written communications. We don't do anything on Zoom anymore. Nobody's running up to fill out a slip. So we're going to close public hearing. Nobody had any questions, so discussion and/or a motion. Commissioner Dickerson.
I'm glad that they're being, that they end up having to go into conform and that they are taking the time and the effort to do that. I know it's going to be costly for them, and I'm sure that they had not expected that cost, but they've probably been selling tires, as you pointed out, for at least a little bit. Maybe not the full 50 years, but it's something close. I think that as part of that conformity, I mean, it's at some point they probably would have had to put that tree in, the additional tree, and I know it's going to go through additional expenses, but at some point they would have had to, so they haven't had to for however many decades, and I'm fine with them putting a new tree in, and I do appreciate the fact that you brought up the irrigation portion, because that is going to add substantively. I'm assuming that the current location, the current tree is being adequately irrigated, but obviously Rex and Parks is going to have to take a look at that to make sure that that's the case, so then we get good growth out of that. And otherwise, I'm fine with the project.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Dickerson. Anyone else? Would anyone like to make a motion? Commissioner Dickerson.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So I move that the approval of the conditional use permit U 2020-0005 be approved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Do we need a roll call, or can we have a roll call, please?
Always.
Well, I thought maybe we could just, no. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Dickerson.
Aye.
Commissioner Mohajer.
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
I'll abstain.
Chair Seifert.
Aye. Motion passes, and good luck with your business. Thank you very much for converting it to a legal operation. Much appreciated. Thank you. Have a good night. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on to 5B, Dudley Hoffman Mortuary Addition, Plan Development and Conditional Use Permits at 931 East Stoll Road. Staff, are you ready with the presentation?
Thank you again, Chair Seifert. This is a request by Dudley Hoffman Mortuary to construct a new 1,500 square foot crematorium addition at their existing location at 931 East Stoll Road. This proposal was brought before this commission at the last public study session on November 21st. And the purpose for the crematory building, its proposed location, parking, and the proposed fencing was discussed. I've added additional information regarding these discussions throughout the presentation. The 3/4 acre project site is located at the eastern portion of the city, just west of the intersection of East Stoll Road and South Bradley Road. The site is zoned PDCPO, Plan Development, Commercial and Professional Office. To the north, west, and east of the site are properties also zoned CPO, and directly to the south is PDC2, Plan Development, General Commercial. Two different churches border the site to the north, medical offices to the west, a gas station to the east, and Trader Joe's is located directly to the south of the site. The Dudley Hoffman property consists of 3 parcels. Parcel 2 and 3 consist of existing parking areas and the mortuary chapel. Existing buildings on parcel 1 consist of the original crematorium, which is to remain, gardens, viewing galleries, visiting rooms, and storage areas. The development proposed under this current request will occur on parcel 1 with slight modification to the parking layout on parcel 2. The facility was initially developed in the late 70s. Then in the early 2000s, a planned development permit for a 2-phase expansion of the facility was approved. The first phase, expansion of the existing columbarium on the northwest corner of the property, seen over in this area. The second phase, which was not built, consisted of a secondary chapel and columbarium to be located along the frontage of the site. With this current request, Dudley Hoffman is proposing to add an additional crematory so that their operations can accommodate the growing area demand. The new crematory building is proposed for the southeast area of the site along Stoll Road in the same approximate location of the prior PD permit's second phase, which had never been constructed. The 1,500 square foot building is proposed to be set back 15 feet from the property line, or back a sidewalk in this case, which conforms to the 10-foot front yard setback requirement of the CPO zone. This will be an employee-only building with no public access. The applicant had noted that the placement of the new crematory building toward the street frontage coordinates with the existing functions of each area of the facility, which are designed to enhance privacy for the mourners and the atmosphere of respect for the deceased. The building will house 2 new cremation units, an office space, refrigeration, processing, and restroom facilities. 2 proposed parking spaces adjacent to the proposed facility will be modified to accommodate a loading area. However, the site will continue to conform to parking requirements. Overall height of the proposed structure is approximately 22 feet with an additional foot of height for rooftop mechanical screening. Architecturally, this building will match the existing structures using a combination of stucco and block, concrete tile roofs, and vertical stucco columns. Added accents and trellises are also proposed to provide additional character to the building. New fencing and landscaping is also proposed along the project frontage and adjacent to the parking lot area. The fencing will encompass the entire frontage of the subject parcel and head north along the eastern edge of the proposed crematory building to enhance security and create additional privacy for mourners. Fence height is proposed to be 8 feet tall, utilizing both CMU block and wrought iron elements, and will be located 10 feet behind the existing sidewalk along Stoll Road. Approximately 2,500 square feet of landscape areas along the project frontage and to the north of the proposed building will be replaced from existing turf and other plantings to low water usage plantings consisting of shrubs, ornamental grasses, flowering ground covers, and trees. Additional street trees will also be added along Stoll Road to also enhance the frontage. Total landscape coverage for the site is approximately 42%, which well exceeds the minimum 15% requirement for the CPO zone. This project qualifies as a Class 32 categorical exemption for infill development under CEQA guidelines. Since the project site is less than 5 acres, it's substantially surrounded by urban uses, and it's consistent with the general plan and the Santa Maria Municipal Code. The project will pose no significant effects on traffic, noise, air, and water quality. No further environmental review is required. The applicant has requested modifications to the following conditions of approval. These are standard planning and public works conditions, which are reiterating municipal code requirements that are not directly applicable to the proposed project. Staff agrees with the removal of these conditions. This concludes staff's presentation. City staff recommends that the commission by motion approve plan development permit PD 2023-0020 and conditional use permit U 2023-0020 with the requested modifications to the conditions. Are there any questions for staff at this time? And I believe the applicant representative is available as well.
Do we have any ex parte on this item? Do we have any questions? Commissioner Dickerson, please.
Can you refresh my memory? What is to the west of it? Is that a medical? Medical. Okay, so the question, if you can bring up the first slide you had, which showed the overall property and thing. There, that one. That's good. So the question I have is that it looks like they're bringing. Go forward one to where it shows the fencing. The next one. Okay, yeah, there you go. So the question I have is, it looks like there's quite a bit of fencing on the south side and virtually every side except for the west. I'm kind of curious why you didn't extend, or why they didn't extend the fencing on the west side, because it doesn't show it, and I don't recall there being any. So That's my question, I guess, is why it wasn't extended out. Because I think it's parking on the west side for the medical facility, and anyway, so. It's on. Oh, it was. It is.
Test, there. Thank you, Chair Seaver. Commissioner Dickerson, there is an existing 3-foot block wall, and then it extends to 4 or 5 feet along that western perimeter in between the parking of the adjacent medical offices.
Okay,
and
all right, so I
administration.
just didn't show up in any of the slides. Okay, so as long as there's something there, that's fine. That was my question, thank you.
Commissioners, questions? I don't see any representatives here.
Chair, yes,
Oh,
there is.
Jason,
Yes.
okay, good, thank you, thank you. My only question would be, what do we charge for utility fees and why is it waived? I've actually worked on a facility like this, and it takes a heck of a lot of gas. So they're going to be adding quite a bit of gas to this. Is that just because it's a public utility, that it's not a city utility?
Yes, so Chair Seifert, members of the public, I'm Mark Wheeler, Principal Civil Engineer for the Public Works Department. The utility fees, they're not waiving any fees. We're not giving them any deals. The code section and the condition of approval is basically stating that if they increase their water meter size or they have any new connections, they'd be charged fees. The applicant stated they're not modifying their water meter, they're not adding new sewer laterals, new sewer lateral connections. There may be new connections to their existing lateral, but essentially they're not making any changes that impact the public utilities, so therefore we're not charging them any fees. So the condition is moot.
So gas is a private utility?
Correct. Well, it's not regulated by the city, so if they have additional fees to SoCal Gas, they'd be paid those fees, but it's not
Yeah,
a city condition.
these units take a lot of gas.
And Chair, if I may also add, and members of the commission, with the building permit for the additional building, fees will be charged based on that building and its use.
I just wondered on the utilities, Frank, because I know that they're definitely going to have to add gas. There's no way that their existing gas line's going to run this place. That was it. Okay, we disclosed. And Jason, did you want to say anything?
Good evening, Commissioner.
I'm sorry, Jason, so Chair, so is your question basically who's putting in the additional gas lines?
No, I just saw that the fees were being waived, and I know that that's very, very true. They don't need new sewer, they don't need new water, but I know that the gas is going to be required, so that was my question.
I see, so normally it would be a city thing, but at this point, it's not a city thing?
So Chair Seifert, Commissioner Dickerson, if I can clarify, we're not waiving any fees. If you go back to, I don't know if you have the permit language or the condition language in front of you. We're basically just stating for growth mitigation fees, we charge connection fees, water upsize fees. So those are, since they're not doing that, we're just removing that as a condition of approval. By code, we can still require it as part of the building permit if they were to later change their mind. But for the gas meters, there will be building plan review, but essentially we don't charge fees for that connection or maintenance of our infrastructure. That's all through SoCal Gas, and that whatever fees they pay to SoCal Gas will remain, but it's through SoCal Gas, not the city.
Good?
Is that, yeah, good? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Jason, go ahead. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Jason Tamura with Urban Planning Concepts, representing the client. I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have regarding the project. I want to thank the staff for their work on this one. They did a lot of legwork. They came out to the site, they saw everything, and they've been very helpful getting this to the stage where you can approve the project, which I hope you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? Please, Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Jason, just curious, the exhaust, is there exhaust that's visible throughout the day, all day? I know the process takes hours, but I'm just curious if there's exhaust that's visible.
Commissioner, that's a good question. We visited the site with the staff, There was a crematorium in use at the time. The way the process works is inside the chimney are several heating elements that reduce any particulates, and the only thing that is visible is the heat vapor coming out of the top. So you can see the shimmer coming out, but no smoke, no particulates come out of the chimney.
And no scent, no smell.
That is correct.
And then, is it during normal business hours that you operate?
Commissioner, yes, they are regulated. They can use each crematorium 3 times per day. That is the maximum amount they can use, and that process generally takes all day. So when they are on full capacity, currently they have 2 on site, and they are using them for the full day. And you can't see them being used from the street. So they are in use currently, and no emissions are being seen in the area.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner Lopez, if I might add, I worked on the one across the street, and I had the same questions just as a contractor. And believe me, you cannot tell these things are being used because we were looking for it. It looks like a little chimney, and you would never know that anything's going on there. Yeah, I've never seen any smoke or smells or anything. The new machines are for the larger people in our society, so they have to upgrade all their equipment. So, do we have any other questions?
I have one other.
Please.
And it's actually more addressed, I can't remember if Commissioner Lopez or Commissioner Blanco said, but in study session, there was somebody brought up why the building was so far forward and right at that corner property. I'm curious if there's any concern still about that, or if an adequate explanation was made for where whoever it was thought that the building should be, might be better situated. Does anyone remember that conversation? It was me. Oh, was it? Okay.
No, it was me. And,
Oh, okay.
and the reason I'd asked is, again, it is pushed further south to the southwest corner. And I think Jason's explanation was there's a tree that's used kind of in a garden setting that I guess it's an older tree.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was okay with that. The biggest thing for me was, it's kind of the entry to the city. It's pushed out forward, but just looking at the site plan, that 3D site plan, it's pushed off a bit. As you pass by, it's going to be kind of shielded by the fencing, and I was okay with it. Yeah.
And the fencing is located behind the property line quite a bit too. I think it was 10 feet or so. Yeah, so we do have quite a bit of room there. And I am sorry, I did miss a study session on this one. I wasn't available. Any other questions? Any other comments? No? Oh, Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to the public, and I have no slips. I see no one in the audience. I'm going to close the public hearing. We're going to bring it back into the commission for a discussion and/or a motion. Commissioners.
I'm fine with the project. They've addressed any questions that we've had. Obviously, it's kind of a bit of a legacy project, and as you pointed out, the equipment needs to be upgraded for the ever-expanding girthiness of the population. So from that standpoint, I'm fine with it, and can make a motion if there are no more comments.
Please go
All
ahead.
right. I move that we approve the Plan Development Permit PD 2023-0020 and Conditional Use Permit U 2023-0020.
Do you have to finish that?
What's that?
Requested modifications?
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't on the sheet here. With requested modifications to conditions as discussed.
Thank you, Commissioner.
You're welcome.
Do we have a
Thank you.
second?
I'll second.
And may we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Dickerson.
Aye.
Commissioner Mohajer.
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco.
Aye.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
And Chair Seifert.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jason. At this time, we're going to go to 5C, Plains of Fame. Air Museum Plan Development and Conditional Use Permit on a portion of a vacant airport property, APN 111-231-011, at the southern terminus of the Airport Drive. And it looks like Carol's going to be heading this one up. Whenever you're ready, thank you. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
later.
We're not talking yet, right? Does anyone want to export on this? Commissioner Lopez?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I did have a communication with Mr. Jim Bray, who's part of the Plains of Fame project. So just briefly, just informational. I really had no questions. He asked me if I asked questions, and I didn't have any.
Commissioner Dickerson?
And briefly, Mr. Bray also contacted me, and I spoke to him just before this meeting. It was just a little bit of informational stuff. That's it.
Same here, Chair. I also had the same experience.
No, you're the only one. I'm clear. Okay. I spoke with the complete staff there, and we didn't talk about anything that we didn't discuss at the study session, so I didn't get any new information. We discussed the presentation tonight and what was kind of important for the commission. So after that, Carol, if you're ready.
I'm ready, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's get it.
Okay, good evening, Planning Commission and members of the public. My name is Carol Ziesenhenny. I'll be presenting the Plains of Fame Air Museum project before you this evening. This is a plan development permit and conditional use permit. As previously discussed, this is at the terminus of Air Park Drive on the southern portion. This project was presented at this September 19th study session as well. So the project site is directly south of the Radisson Hotel on Santa Maria Public Airport property. And the project area is part of a larger lease area, but for this purposes of tonight's hearing, this is a 14-acre property. So the site zoning is in an AS1 and an AS2, Airport Service 1 and Airport Service 2 zone district. It is surrounded by other airport service zone districts with open space designation just the south of the property, located here. So the property itself is bounded by an airport hotel. The Santa Maria Airport tarmac is directly to the southwest, and a vacant, undeveloped parking area is directly between Air Park and Skyway Drive. And so the purpose of the AS1 and AS2 zone districts, we don't see this very often before your commission, is to establish service uses for airport-related activities, such as hotels, motels, temporary uses that are accessory and incidental. And because this is a use that is not listed specifically in either of those zone districts, the Air Museum is required, a conditional use permit is required to be found consistent with those zones. And staff has provided those findings for you in the permit. So the project is for an air museum that's a 501c3 nonprofit. It is a phased development which would include approximately 120,000 square feet for currently 4 aircraft hangars. The capacity would be for 38 aircraft on display. These would be defueled to the sense that they're not fully fueled. Public hours of operation would be Wednesday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Staff would be there 7 days a week. There'd be 15 staff on site from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The approximate number of flight demonstrations with the flyable aircraft would be approximately 150 total demonstration flights with 12 per month averaging. Parking is provided, 131 parking spaces with 14 EV stalls installed on the site. This meets the CalGreen standards Tier 2 voluntary measures, which is more than what the basic CalGreen standards require. and landscaping is in compliance with municipal code requirements for this type of use. This is the overall project aerial showing the existing conditions with the building outlines in these colors. So phase 1 would include, and the project boundary is outlined in yellow with the overall lease area outlined in red. So building alpha and building delta, indicated with this red indicator, are part of phase 2. Buildings Charlie and Bravo are incorporated for, did I say phase 1? I have phase 1 and phase 2. Alpha and delta being the first. This is the site layout as shown on the plan set in your packet. Airport fencing is shown in red. It surrounds the entirety of the project site, with building delta actually having access directly onto the tarmac. The interior of the site, there are fences between Alpha, Charlie, and Bravo buildings, and the rest of the area would be secured. Each of the buildings does have accordion doors for aircraft to exit and enter the buildings, and there would be airport gates throughout, heading onto the tarmac there. The parking included is primarily on the frontage. There is space for approximately 4 to 5 buses, which would accommodate school groups, tour buses, and any sort of event, high occupancy vehicles that might come to visit the museum. So I'll go through each of the buildings. This is building Alpha, which is the main museum building, which includes a 56,600 square feet. Primarily, it's prefabricated metal with stucco columns and panels and pops of color on the sides. On the bottom elevation here, you can see the accordion doors for accommodating the planes. And then there's individual person-sized doors on either side of these accordion doors. This is a architectural rendering, 3D artistic rendition of what the building would look like in its full color. There are red and white colors incorporated as well. As mentioned in the study session, there are outlines of planes which are proposed to be held up, displayed from the ceiling. That's supposed to be shown through the windows there. So it's not a mural, it's actually windows. This is a view of the building Alpha site elevations. These are not in color, but you can get a better picture of the rendering and the articulation and details on this screen here. So as mentioned before, it's primarily steel and stucco for the building materials with red accents, which is consistent with most aircraft buildings that can be seen throughout the Santa Maria Airport. This is the floor plan for building Alpha. The main display area, which is showing the lion's share of the exhibit, would be shown here. There is a stage with a lecture area for educational lectures, school groups to attend and learn more about these aircraft and the folks who flew them and built them. There is a lobby and gift shop in the front. So Airpark Drive is just to the south here, or on the bottom of the screen. There's a vending area, catering kitchen for events, for any sort of event that would take place in the auditorium room, as well as restrooms throughout the building. This is building Delta, which is intended to be the restoration building. The applicant is in attendance tonight and can speak more about their restoration activities, but this is intended to be a maintenance and restoration building, which demonstrations could also occur there as well. Building is located just to the rear of the site. and this building is approximately 13,000 square feet. Here's another artistic rendering. This is showing a view looking from the tarmac from the airport. These are the accordion doors, and then these decorative red awnings. And building, I believe this is building Charlie behind it. This is building Delta looking from the other buildings. This is the floor plan for the Restoration and Maintenance Center. There is an office and a restroom included here, but primarily the floor area is intended to be a multi-purpose space for restoration and maintenance of these aircraft. So I'll briefly go over buildings Bravo and Charlie. They're pretty similar in architecture and floor plans. Building Bravo does include some preservation room and conference room areas, event support area for the outside for Airfest, and additional restrooms and a lobby. This building can hold up to 9 aircraft and is 24,500 square feet. And this is just another view of the side elevations for Building Bravo. This is Building Charlie. It can hold 11 aircraft total, and it's 25,700 square feet. There are restrooms in this building as well on either side of the accordion doors leading out to the airport tarmac. And then the side elevations. So environmental review was completed through an initial study and mitigated negative declaration pursuant to California Environmental Quality Act state guidelines. This was circulated for 30 days for public review from October 26th to November 25th. Only one comment was received during that comment period, which was from CalGEM, regarding if the site preparation and excavation were to uncover an oil well, what the steps would be and what the regulation expectations would be for both the property owner and the developer. Mitigation measures were incorporated for the project for biological resources, nesting bird impact avoidance and minimization for the large eucalyptus trees that are not on the project property but are nearby. Cultural resources, which is a pretty standard mitigation for any unanticipated discovery of cultural resources and the procedures to address those if those are found. None are anticipated. This is in a low resource area. Thank you, Frank. Similarly, geology and soils. This is also in a low paleontological area of the city. So in the unlikely event that there is a discovery of fossils, for example, what those procedures and timing of reporting and cataloging would be. And finally, there's a noise mitigation for noise control for tools, maintaining construction equipment so it operates at a low level of noise, and then a requirement for staging any building materials the greatest distance away from the hotel is feasible. So with that, that concludes my presentation. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission, by resolution, first adopt a mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring program prepared for the project. And secondly, by motion, approve Plan Development Permit PD 2023-0017 and Conditional Use Permit U 2024-0009. As mentioned previously, the applicant is here, and they do have a brief presentation.
Thank you very much, Carol. Do we have questions? No questions? Nope, I'm good too. At this time, would you like to make a presentation? Please come to the podium and state your name and address, and let us know what you have. Thank you. Yeah, just you could use this address. That's fine.
I do not know the address. I don't think we have one yet. Santa Maria Airport, we'll use that. My name is Jane Hinton. I'm the Director of Development with the Plains of Fame Air Museum. I'm also the Director of the Central Coast Air Fest. And I have a short presentation about our museum. We were established in 1957. We're actually one of the oldest air museums in the country. We have 2 locations. Our headquarters are in Chino, California, and we have a second auxiliary museum in Arizona. That has now closed to the public, so we are hopefully expanding to Santa Maria. We have, can we go to the next slide? Sorry. We have over 160 aircraft in our collection, and the thing that makes us quite unique about museums is we actually fly a significant portion of our collection. So about 35 of our planes are in active use, and we use them for educational demos and air shows and, oh, perfect, thank you. And motion pictures, all kinds of things. And, oh, there we go. One of the pillars of our mission is education, and over 10,000 school children go through our Chino-based facility, primarily through school field trips, but we also have events aimed at school children, so Junior Aviators Day and various activities. We also have a scholarship program, and we are currently in the works of bringing scholarships specifically to the Santa Maria Valley. Last year and the year before at Airfest, we started an annual educational event called Skyward Bound, the Wednesday before the Central Coast Airfest. And Rigetti, Pioneer, Orchid Academy, we had hundreds of high school students come through and get to meet pilots and Air Force representatives and get exposure to STEM careers. And we also had high school students from Pismo Beach and Carpinteria, and so it's not just local, it also expands in the region. Veteran appreciation is another cornerstone of our mission, and not only sharing their stories and preserving them, but also appreciating our veterans through our monthly Kilroy Coffee Clatch and Christmas breakfast and Achievement in Aviation Award. We just try to get them involved with the museum, and many of them come in as volunteers. We also appreciate active duty members and first responders through our Blue Star program, where they receive free admission to the museum, and during Blue Star months, their families also can attend for free. Our biggest program is our monthly Living History Flying Days, where we give educational lectures and we fly some of our rare aircraft. In Chino, these events bring in anywhere from 500 to 120, 1,200 attendees monthly. Sorry, I'm fumbling on my words. But this is a really popular event, and on top of that, we also do member appreciation flights and flights to the public, so we have an active ride program. The Central Coast Airfest, I think you are all familiar with, and that brings in approximately 20,000 annual visitors, many of which come from the outside area supporting tourism. We had a study done by the Economic Planning Systems consultancy, and they estimated the economic impact of the Plains of Fame on the local community at about 1.8 million in annual offsite spending, and approximately, and this was done several years ago, or about 4 years ago, about 120,000 in annual tax revenue based on hotels, restaurants, gas stations, and retail. And if you have any questions, I thank you for your time and for being here.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, do we have any questions? Thank you. Commissioner Blanco.
Am I on? Yeah, okay, just making sure. So is this set up like a typical museum where it's general admission, people can show? Are there like self-guided tours?
Exactly.
Or guided tours? Yeah.
Yeah, so primarily it's an aircraft hangar, so we need to house all these aircraft. But then in the front, you saw that lobby area and gift shop. So you come in and you pay admission, just like you're going to the art museum or the Getty, and then we have self-guided tours, as you say. We also have an active docent program, so if you'd like to schedule a group tour or school field trips or things like that, we take you through. But I would say the majority of our guests are just people who come in and self-guide and enjoy the aircraft.
Great. A couple more questions. Events, will you guys be also holding events, special events? Is it open to rental, or are there certain events?
Yes, there are our own special events. So we've had a car show at ours. We have an annual Wings, Tracks, and Wheels where we actually have a tank and we get it out and we drive it around and things. So we have our own driving events, special events and things, and galas. But then we also support private events, and we rent out the hangars after hours. So birthday parties, weddings, all kinds of things come through in that space. And then we also support, from time to time, the county will need a meeting space, or somebody will need a celebration of life or something like that. So we make ourselves available.
Sure. And then last question, or I don't know, maybe it's a comment, but at the study session, which was back in September, there were some comments about the aesthetic front of the main building. I think there was just comments about like maybe reconsidering kind of the aesthetics. And I was trying to find my printouts from the study session. I couldn't find them. And I couldn't remember if there was any changes from the study session to now for this. I think there was comments from various commissioners that they kind of thought they might expect something a little bit more, I don't know, dramatic or something. I don't know. I think there was some confusion at the meeting thinking that the airplanes were actually just like, I don't know, stained glass or something, but they're actually planes in the background.
Yes, so we engineered the building to accommodate an extra, I believe it's 10,000 pounds to be able to hang aircraft from the ceiling, and then hopefully we'll light them up so even at night you can kind of see them through the windows and whatnot, so you have that sense of arrival. We also have a design team that's worked with Disneyland and Universal Studios that is helping us with this aesthetic, and the first thing we needed to do was get the hangar up, and then we'll work on signage and beautification steps as we go, but one step at a time.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty dramatic, actually, to have actual planes hanging through there. So, I'm not saying it was bad. I just remember the discussion at the meeting, and so I just thought I'd bring it up. But if you're working with Disney and them, it sounds like you got the right people on board in regards to aesthetics. So, thank you. That's it.
Commissioner Blanco, I think what the comment was maybe some static display on the front of the building. Is what we had discussed, and I did discuss that with the group the other day at the when they came in. I believe that's what was discussed, getting some aircraft out in front also. Commissioner Mulhauser.
Thank you, Chair. Quick question regarding the airplane flight demonstrations. Are those going to be limited to certain times of the day? I know it's 12 per month, correct?
Yeah, so the flight demos are, our monthly events are usually at noon, and most of our aircraft, we don't like to fly them at night, so it's during, daylight hours for the most part. Additionally, our aircraft are primarily from the World War II era, and they're not as noisy as big jets or something like that. It's very kind of general aviation, smaller aircraft. So most of our planes don't make a lot lot of noise.
Okay, that was my concern, because we have Radisson right next door, and so I wanted to touch base on that.
No, we've talked to them about that specifically, and they're behind the project. We actually have a letter of support from them as well, and they're excited to have us. So.
Okay, perfect. And I think that was my main concern right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dickerson, thank you.
Going back to the aesthetics on the front or anything. So is this typical of the aesthetic that you have basically the other two?
Yeah,
So is-
we're trying to stay consistent with the frontage, so.
So we really can't expect any substantive change in the aesthetics because basically you're following through with the business model of how it looks.
Right, so this portion is a section, phase one is a section of the larger lease space, and eventually we're hoping to develop on the other side of the road as well, and that's where we might be able to bring in some things like aircraft on display or signage that are more road-facing. So, because we're more into the airport, but there's a whole nother section that we'll get to at some point, but it's a lot of fundraising, so we gotta.
Okay.
We gotta
So,
get
so
there.
the buildings will remain the same, but we're just talking about the pad in front?
Yeah,
eventually.
adding to it.
Okay. And then you said you have two others, but one's closing down, or is it the one in Arizona that's
The
closing
one
down?
in Arizona, we closed to the public during COVID at that time because we just couldn't sustain the operations there. And it will remain, we own that land and facility, so
see.
we'll hold it for storage and restoration that's not on public display.
Okay. And you said you had about, what was it, 32, 35 planes that actually fly?
The number fluctuates, but yeah, about 35 to 40 is in flyable condition.
Okay. So, I mean, and do you guys restore kind of one at a time, each one? I mean, will that number go up and kind of eat into the, 100 plus that you have here?
Yeah, we have several planes under restoration. One of them we're actually hoping to complete the restoration as the first restoration here in Santa Maria because it's a P-59, I want to say, America's first jet aircraft, and they actually were based at the Santa Maria airport. Anyway, we're very excited about it.
That's cool.
So we will restore aircraft to flight as part of our conservation and restoration of aircraft, and we also regularly receive donations of aircraft. Just this year, we received a Stagger Wing as well as a Stearman, so our collection continues to grow, hence the
That's very cool.
expansion.
Do you ever take public up?
Yes, so we
Yeah.
have a ride program that encompasses our P-51 Mustangs right now, but we also plan to expand that to our Stearman and T-6 and a couple other aircraft as well, which
that
I
sounds
think will be
very
quite
cool.
scenic here in Santa Maria.
So just load us up 5 tickets. There
Yeah,
you go.
okay. I'll see you at Airfest. Yeah.
6 and see, there you go. We're sustaining you already.
Very
so.
good.
Anyway, those are my questions. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had one question. How will you interact with the other museum that's on the airport, on the west side of the airport?
Yeah, the Santa Maria Museum of Flight has been in discussions with us from the start. It was one of the first conversations we had was to go over and talk to them about the future and working together. And it's really positive. Just today we were out there cleaning out hangars and moving stuff around. So we have a good relationship with them, and we're hoping to make a public announcement about kind of the future of the two museums working together moving forward. We're not sure exactly how that's going to play out, but it's all very positive, and we're in active discussions.
Okay, thank you. And then just one question for staff. Does this conditional use permit allow them to have displays in the front of the existing hangar, or do they need to modify that for future outdoor displays?
Commissioner Lopez, we could explicitly include that as maybe in the project description, just as a caveat, the outside aircraft display is allowed.
And the reason I ask is
You know? Yeah. Okay.
they don't have to come back.
Correct. That could be included in your motion for approval, to include that.
That'd be great.
No, that's it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. The demonstration flights, what exactly are these? It sounds exciting. What are you going to do?
Yeah, so a typical living history flying day is we open the doors, people come in. We usually invite a couple food trucks and things like that and make it a nice atmosphere. And then we have an educational lecture that's about 45 minutes to an hour long, talking about the aircraft itself. We invite veterans, historians, authors, all kinds of things to make the lectures interesting. It's not just our director of education. And then at noon, we'll take a plane out, and the pilot will do a walk around and kind of talk about the aircraft and answer questions with the public. And then he hops in, or she hops in, and starts up and does some passes along the crowd and different angles and things to view the aircraft in flight. And it's a chance for some of our extremely rare aircraft to be seen in flight. For example, our pea shooter aircraft is only one of 2 in existence. One of them is at the Smithsonian, and one of them is with us. And they do not fly there, so ours is the only chance to see it in action. And we also have the only fully authentic Japanese Zero aircraft in the world. And so we have these really rare aircraft that are very... they tug on some heartstrings and draw people out to see these aircraft.
You fly the
flying.
Zero?
We are flying it this Saturday in Chino. Yeah, so we fly it.
That is cool as hell.
Yes, it is. We'll be. We're excited about the Santa Maria Airport because you guys have great airspace. There's not a lot of traffic, and there's not a lot of congestion and the airspace around. Oh, this perfect slide. So if you see all the yellow, even not as a pilot, you can see how much more difficult it might be to operate around Chino. So operating our flight operations here in Santa Maria is very positive for us. So some of those more rare aircraft, single engine aircraft, would be housed and homed here.
So on the demonstrations, are we going to invite some, like maybe some school kids or classes, or how does that work?
Oh, absolutely.
Dignitaries?
Yeah.
I'm just, you're already
All are
invited.
invited, open to the public.
It will depend on your vote, Commissioner.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of the lectures and demos are more geared towards adult audiences and adult education and whatnot, but we definitely have Junior Aviators Day, and we work with the EAA with Young Eagles, which gives free flights for kids to go up in aircraft and all kinds of things to encourage interest in aviation.
Excellent, good. So you guys, isn't the Blue Angels, aren't they in Chino? No, not anymore? So
No.
that's special, that was an old special I watched. Where are they at now?
Oh, they came out. They did a documentary in
Yeah.
our hangar just a few months ago. I think it went up. We have a Blue Angel, yes. It's out in Arizona. It was one that is possibly going to go in front of the museum here. So just because it's so recognizable as everybody knows who the Blue Angels are. So we thought it would be quite eye-catching, but we're not there yet.
Very cool. Okay. And I never heard about the Skyward Bound before.
Oh.
It's the first I've ever heard of it. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, Skyward Bound is a collaboration between the U.S. Air Force Heritage Flight Foundation and Project Recover and the Planes of Fame. So you know who the Planes of Fame is, U.S. Air Force. They fly demos for air shows, and then Project Recover actually dives wrecks of airplanes and recovers the remains of military personnel and take them back to their families. So between the 3 organizations, we explore different career paths in aviation, because obviously it's not just flying planes, it's mechanics and deep sea divers and all kinds of things. We have a forensic anthropologist that comes out, and she's always a big hit with the kids. So it's just to show them that aviation there's many things that you can do with that career path. And we started it 2 years ago, and then it grew last year, and we actually just received a grant fund today for the project for next year. So we're looking forward to bringing it back.
Sounds like a great program.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Excellent. Commissioners, anything else? Thank you very much, Jane.
Absolutely, thank
Appreciate
you.
I don't think we need any rebuttals. Well, no, wait a minute. We're going to open this to the public.
Nancy?
I see a slip.
Oh.
Thank you, Frank. Nash Marino, would you, you've got 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record, and let us know what you have to say.
Testing. All right, great. Nash Barno, 741 Royal Terrace over in Orchid. I'm the current president of the Santa Maria Public Airport. So hello, commissioners and Chair Seifert. I would like to speak in favor of the resolution and approval for the plan development permit here for Plains of Fame. So I have actually worked with Jane and Plains of Fame for the Skyward Bound project program, and to date, over the last 2 years, I think we've actually worked with about 400 students, and they're not even here yet. So so I'm just here in support and in favor, and looking forward to having them here, and looking forward to the positive impact that they'll have with future generations. So thank you.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nancy. I think with no other slips, we're going to go ahead and close the public comment period, and we're going to bring it back to the commission. Do we have a discussion? And we need a resolution and a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to comment. I was excited when this came before us at the study session. I like the project. I like what the impact could be to our community. I like the STEM-based programs that they will have and are starting with Skyward Bound now. It's exciting. I can absolutely see myself supporting this project.
Commissioners? Commissioner Mohajer?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I have to agree. I really think that this project is going to have a positive impact on the community. I think that they're doing such great programs already, and I'd love to see that implemented in the local schools. I think that it's not just the schools that are going to benefit, but the community as a whole, and even the surrounding communities. I can see other people coming to Santa Maria because of it. So, I mean, I'm in support of the project.
Commissioner Blanco?
Yeah, I think it's a really, really cool thing for our community. I mean, what an opportunity for us on the Central Coast to kind of set ourselves apart, and to think that there's only one other one in Chino, and we have something like this on the Central Coast. That's pretty cool. And the educational component, and all of the outreach with veterans and others. I mean, just it's a win-win all around. It seems like to me. Nothing like that in the area. I've been up to the Warbirds Museum in Paso, which is pretty cool, but this seems to be like next level cool. The opportunities for the public, the draw to the area that we've been wanting around here, just to have something to set us apart. I mean, it sounds like a really cool project. So, yeah, totally would support this.
Commissioner Dixon?
Yeah, I agree with the other commissioners. I'm thrilled with this, and I'm very pleased that you decided to come to our community to set this up. My only concerns were the aesthetic elements, and that only comes from my desire to see you guys succeed. So anything that you can put out there that draws more people and more success for you, I'm on board with. So from that standpoint, yeah, I totally approve this project.
Well, anyone that knows me knows that I just love the airplanes. When I was looking at the floor plans, my garage, I don't need 10,000 pounds. My airplanes are all small, made out of balsa wood, but I can give you a run for your money. I've got a lot of models myself. It's pretty cool to see this. And the fact that Santa Maria, you guys picked Santa Maria, I think we're so fortunate to have you guys moving from Chino and coming here and building such a fantastic museum for us to utilize for the kids, for the STEM, the future of aviation, of space. We've got Elon Musk wanting to do 100 rockets a year or something now. We've got kids that we just desperately need to get into these space programs, STEM programs. And what I can't think of a better way than having hands-on, and the Skyward Bound, I didn't even know that existed. I think that's an excellent program. I'm all about getting the kids involved in this and getting their education going and just getting the love of flying. So thank you very much for just even considering us, and this is going to be a great project for Santa Maria. We are going to need someone to do a resolution and a motion.
Don't forget the inclusion.
Yeah, with the added, yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion. Are we making two separate motions? Okay. I'd like to make a motion that by resolution, we adopt the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring program prepared for the project.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dickerson,
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco,
Aye.
Commissioner Mohajer,
Aye.
Chair Seifert.
Aye. Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a second motion that we approve the plan development permit and conditional use permit with the modifications for outdoor display. Does that have to be identified on the plans or just in general?
Chair Seaver, Commissioner Lopez, I can include that in the project description for the permit to include a plan development permit and conditional use permit for Planes of Fame Air Museum to establish an airplane museum and allow phased construction of 4 aircraft hangars totaling 199,672 square feet with approximately 9,000 square feet of office space and outdoor aircraft storage on a 12.11 acre site.
Okay. And that would also include the front of the building as you come in, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Outdoor aircraft display.
Carol, does the outdoor storage, was that the part you added?
Yes.
So could in theory then this open the door to outdoor storage versus what we're really looking for is outdoor display?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioner Dickerson. Yes, I would slightly reword that to add specifically outdoor display of a limited number of aircraft in front of the building.
Okay. And sculptures and that type of artwork would also be included in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That would be my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Lopez,
Aye.
Commissioner Dickerson,
Aye.
Commissioner Blanco,
Aye.
Commissioner Mohajer,
Aye.
and Chair Seifert.
Aye. You guys are good to go. Congratulations. Thank you very much for coming to Santa Maria. We're very excited. Yes.
Cool.
Good for you. Nice. Nice job, Carol. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other business?
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. I would like to just go over the future dates. There has been a slight change. So we do have a study session tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, December 5th. The item that we're going to be looking at is the city objective design standards for residential developments. The December 18th meeting, there had been an item scheduled, but we have canceled that meeting. So there will not be a December 18th.
I'm sorry, Frank. Nancy, it's 6 o'clock. Okay, go ahead.
Merry Christmas, Nancy, if I don't see you. Okay, thank you.
Likewise, there is no items scheduled for the December 19th study session. So we have tomorrow's study session and no more until after the first of the year.
Okay.
Speaking of the first of the year, the scheduled meeting is for January 1st, and that one is likewise canceled, as is the study session on the 2nd.
Oh.
So the next possible meeting will be January 15th 2025. But we will give you updated information as that date draws near.
Okay, thank you, Frank.
And there's one other item. We would like to just inform the commission that on November 19th, the city council did go ahead and authorize the annexation application for the Richards Ranch project. They also approved the pre-zoning and the general plan amendment as part of those motions that evening. So the next step will be for the city staff to prepare and then submit an application to LAFCO for that annexation. And then lastly, on that same date, November 19th, the city council also approved the A Street rezone and general plan amendment that the commission saw earlier that month. And that concludes staff's announcements.
Thank you, Frank. Do we have any oral reports from commissioners? Oh, we do. Commissioner Lopez.
I just want to say I'm sorry that I was late this evening. I thought it was Tuesday.
We didn't wait for you. Commissioner Dickerson?
Did you miss like a whole bunch of Wednesday stuff earlier? You don't even know. Life's just a haze for you. You know, I just want to say, since this is I know we have a study session tomorrow, but I just want to say what a pleasure it is every year to be here with staff, with the commissioners. You guys all do such a professional, wonderful job, each and every one of you. And I just want to say thank you, and I'll say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you want. And thank you. Thank you for making my life better, for knowing you.
That includes you, Sidewalk Guy.
He's shaking that title.
You think?
Road guy.
I don't know.
Road guy.
You can say you're glad I'm back. It's okay.
Okay. And, yes, Commissioner Dickerson, it's been a really fun year working with you guys. You're always very professional, get us all well prepared for these meetings, make sure we don't do anything that we shouldn't be doing. Thank you very much. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, happy all the other things. Just happy holidays is great. Merry Christmas. It's going to be a nice holiday season, and I wish everybody peace and joy. And Commissioner Blanco.
Yeah, I can add one more thing. I've been joking around with Commissioner Lopez the last few weeks about his tenure and how long he's been here. So I just don't know if his tenure is going to continue. I haven't had a chance to really ask him if he's applying for next term.
We're going to do that right now.
Well, no, but I'm just I know that this. I'm just saying that he's served a long time, and I've kind of seen him as a mentor, and I just want to tell him that he's been appreciated personally, but I know he showed me a picture from a few years back where he was up here with some, I'll say old timers, but some veterans. So that was interesting. But anyways,
a long time ago. Yeah. I haven't given it any thought.
I don't know if he's returning, but
yeah. No, I was just thinking when you were talking about the staff's presentations, and I was thinking, I don't know, maybe Frank was here when they still had the wooden pointer. And you had to do it up here. Were you here? I mean, it was.
I believe so.
And it was pretty wild. We had binders.
Oh yeah. We still, some of us still do. Some of us still have binders.
And Kathleen would deliver them to our house or to our place of business, and it's just it's come so far. I mean, we have monitors now, and it's very nice to really be able to get all the information in one point, and it's just so streamlined. You guys I mean, Carol, I remember when you started, I mean, just your presentations are just, they're just very informative, and it is, like the Commissioner Dixon was saying, it's just a pleasure to have all the information right in front of you. And I've been out here since 14 years, and I really do appreciate all the work you guys do. And I'm very thankful that we have staff like you guys that put up with a lot of stuff in the background before you guys get here, and it is a pleasure to work with you guys. So I don't know, I've been up here a long time.
Commissioner Dickerson,
Thank you,
how
guys.
long have you been up here?
You know, Alice and I were just talking about that. I think she just won her 4th term, so I've been up here 3 full terms. So I've been here 12 years, and I'll put my application in for the last 4, so it'll be 16 by the time we're done. Plus, of course, you know, you and I were on the block grants committee. I was on that for 11 before getting on this, so.
I'm still on it.
Yeah.
And I
It's
look-
for the big bucks that we make.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I asked Kathleen the other day, I've been on this commission 9 years now. Time really goes by quickly. It's just, don't worry, you're not going to lose your hair. It's okay. I don't think that's what it's for.
No, so you were on, then you were off, then you were on. What were the periods?
I started in 07, 07 to 12, and then I was off from 12 to 16, and then 16 to now. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, long time.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up.
Absolutely.
And even though sometimes you're a little late,
But he's not late on the days he thinks that he's supposed to be here. There's nobody inside, it's gone.
I got a text from Kathleen. I was like, what does she mean? Did you forget?
Where are you?
Did you forget? I was like, oh, man. I was on my way home, too.
just to be totally honest, I got a text from Dana the other day. She said, hey, Tim, it's Dana. I said, oh, yeah, Dana, it's Tim. She goes, I'm at the study session. I said, oh, I'm not. Give me about 10 minutes. So it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. So, but thank you, everybody, and I hope the holidays are great. And, it's been good. So with that, I think we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Turn off. I cannot.